Have you ever wondered why money can be both your master and your master? That seemingly simple question is the door that opens a door to the vast and mysterious world of personal finance and wealth. In fact, many people work hard every day, even work harder than others, but still struggle with debt and cannot accumulate assets. Meanwhile, there are also people who take it easy, even do not work hard, but their assets increase day by day. They live a financially free life that many people dream of. What makes this difference? The answer lies in how each person understands and behaves with money. In other words, in the rules of the game of money. These rules are not an official set of rules. No one learns them in school, nor are they a secret passed down by word of mouth. But they decide everything, who wins and who loses in the financial game of life. When it comes to money, most of us have a very straightforward, even limited view. Money is something that must be earned through labor. You go to work, you get paid, you spend money to live, to pay the bills. It is a cycle that many people get stuck in. They work to earn money, then spend money to live, and eventually money becomes a never-ending series of jobs. But in the larger financial world, money is not just money. Money is a tool, and this tool can work for you, creating more new money. Rich people understand this. They know how to put money to work. That is why they get richer. Poor people often do not know this way or are unaware of its existence. To make it easy to understand, imagine you have a goose that lays golden eggs, a famous symbol of wealth. What can you do with that goose? If you kill a goose for meat, you'll be full for a day, but that is all you have. You will lose the long-term income from the eggs it lays. On the contrary, if you know how to take care of the goose, nurture it so that it continues to lay eggs regularly every day, you will have a stable and long-term income, enough for you to live comfortably for the rest of your life. This is the principle of the money game. Many of us are killing the goose in our financial lives. They spend all their money on things that do not bring long-term value, or simply exchange labor for money without knowing how to let money lay money. Therefore, understanding the money game will not only help you get rich, but also help you have freedom in time, reduce financial anxiety, and have a better quality of life. In this video, we'll explore the fundamentals of money, including how cash flow works, how to identify assets and liabilities, the importance of systems and leverage, and how to control your time and emotions when it comes to managing your money. Our goal isn't to get rich quick, but to develop a strategic mindset so that money can work for you, helping you build a life of ease, stability, and true freedom. Are you ready to change the way you think about money and play by your own rules? Let's start by exploring the rules of the money game, because knowing the rules will make you the ultimate winner. Part 1. The rules of the money game. Cash flow makes cash flow. In the financial world, there is a basic but extremely important principle that many people still do not fully understand. Cash flow is king, not temporary income, not the balance in the bank account or the value of assets on paper. But cash flow is the factor that determines the true wealth and financial freedom of each person. 1.1 Understanding cash flow correctly. Single income versus passive income. To start, it is important that we clearly distinguish between two types of income that most people often confuse or do not distinguish correctly. Single income, active income, and passive income, passive income. Single income is the money you earn from your daily work, the result of your direct time and effort spent working. For example, it could be a monthly salary, overtime pay, or commission based on the sales you directly generate. The characteristics of this type of income are: first, it depends entirely on the time and effort you put in. Second, when you stop working, your income will immediately stop. And finally, this income is limited by the number of hours you work in a day, as well as your ability to work. In contrast, passive income is a steady stream of money that you receive without having to directly spend time or effort to create it every hour and every minute. This is a source of income that you can receive even when you are resting or working on something else. Common examples of passive income include real estate rental income, dividends from stocks and financial investments, profits from businesses that you own but do not directly operate, copyrights for books, music, digital products, or applications you create, interest from long-term financial investments. 1.2 Why is passive income important? Passive income is the key to financial freedom. When you have enough passive income to cover all your living expenses without having to work directly, you'll have the freedom of time to do the things you love, invest in personal development, or spend all your time with your family. A person with only a single income can be imagined as a wheel that is constantly turning. When the wheel stops turning, everything stops. But a person with passive income is like an automatic wheel-making machine. It continues to create wheels even when you do nothing. This brings clear benefits. You are no longer dependent on your own labor. You can make money while sleeping, traveling, or resting. A steady cash flow helps you avoid falling into a spiral of debt when something unexpected happens. 1.3 real-life examples of passive cash flow from the rich. To better understand, let's look at some real-life examples of how the rich build passive cash flow through their assets and investments. The first example is Mr. John, a real estate investor in London. Instead of just holding on to his house and waiting for the price to increase, Mr. John chooses to buy small apartments in fast-growing areas and rent them out. Every month, he receives cash flow from the rent, helping to pay off his loans and generate net profits. Thanks to that, he doesn't have to work hard but still has a stable monthly income. Next is Ms. Elizabeth, a successful entrepreneur in New York. She owns a diversified stock portfolio, many of which pay regular dividends. By reinvesting dividends and maintaining a sustainable portfolio, she has a steady source of passive income, independent of business or overtime. Finally, there is Mr. Michael, the owner of a chain of coffee shops in Manchester. Instead of managing each store directly, he built a professional operating system with a team of managers and employees. This system helps him receive stable profits without having to be present regularly, creating a passive cash flow from the business. 1.4 The fundamental difference between rich and poor people. After understanding cash flow and passive income, you will realize that the fundamental difference between rich and poor people lies in how they manage their cash flow. Poor and middle-class people often only focus on earning a single income, spending most of their time and effort on direct work, then spending almost all their earnings on consumer goods, failing to build a passive income stream. They are stuck in a cycle of earn money, spend money, earn money, spend money without a sustainable financial cushion. Meanwhile, the rich choose to do things differently. They build and buy assets that generate passive cash flow. Instead of just working to earn money, they let money work for them. Those assets can be rental real estate, dividend-paying stocks, self-operated businesses, or digital products that generate regular profits. When you have passive cash flow, you enter a completely different game, the game of financial freedom and security. 1.5 Tips for building a project-stable cash flow. If you want to start building passive cash flow, start with the following basic steps. First, understand your current income source. Carefully analyze where the money is coming from and where it is going. Clearly distinguish between assets and liabilities. Learn how to invest in things that bring real cash flow. Actively learn financial knowledge from books, experts, and practice continuously. You don't need a lot of capital to start. You can start with small investments such as stocks, open-end funds, or small real estate. Build an operating system and take advantage of financial leverage so that the cash flow is generated more and does not depend entirely on personal labor. 1.6 Conclusion of Part 1. The rule of the classy money game is, cash flow creates cash flow. When you understand and apply this principle, you will move from the hard race to earn money to the state of having money work for you. In the next section, we will explore how to distinguish between assets and liabilities, helping you build a stronger foundation for long-term and sustainable wealth. Part 2. Assets and liabilities, how to distinguish and build assets. In the journey to conquer financial freedom, clearly distinguishing between assets and liabilities is an extremely important step, because only when you understand exactly what really helps you get rich can you know how to invest and spend properly. Robert Kiyosaki, author of the famous book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, gave a very simple but profound definition. Assets are things that put money in your pocket, and liabilities are things that take money out of your pocket. 1. Understand assets and liabilities correctly. Many people mistakenly think that an expensive car, a luxury house, or luxury items are assets. But in fact, if those items do not create cash flow or added value, but only cost you money to maintain, and depreciate, Then there are liabilities, things that take money out of your pocket every month. Think of it this way. A car could be a liability if it does not generate income but only costs you money in gas, maintenance, taxes, and depreciation over time. Similarly, a house you live in but do not rent out or generate income is just a shelter, not an asset in the economic sense. Meanwhile, a car used for taxi service, rental, or business purposes becomes an asset because it generates a steady stream of cash for you. A rental house, a business store, or a portfolio of dividend-paying stocks are also assets because they generate income and increase in value over time. 2. How to differentiate between assets and liabilities. Distinguishing assets from liabilities is not always easy, especially when many items are cleverly disguised as luxury and value. Here are some easy-to-understand criteria. Assets are things that generate cash flow or direct financial benefits for you each month, or at least save you money. Examples include rental properties, dividend-paying stocks, income-producing investments, or self-employed businesses. Liabilities are things that cost you money each month, or reduce your cash flow. These could be recurring expenses such as maintenance fees, mortgage payments, depreciation, or luxury items that do not generate income or increase in value. 3 real-life examples of assets and liabilities. To help you visualize, let's analyze a few familiar examples. A car. If you buy an expensive car for personal transportation that does not generate income, it is a liability because you have to pay for gas, maintenance, and taxes every year, and when you sell it, it will lose value. But if you use that car to run a transportation service or rent it out, it can become an asset because it generates cash flow. The house you live in. Many people think that owning a house is a sign of wealth. However, if that house is just for living without generating income, you have to pay monthly expenses such as electricity, water, repairs. Then it is not an economic asset. The house becomes an asset when you rent it out or use it for business. Expensive furniture, jewelry, high-end phones. They can help you feel luxurious or satisfy your hobbies, but they hardly generate cash flow and, on the contrary, reduce personal finances through shopping and maintenance costs. 4 smart investment strategies. Buy assets that generate cash flow. The rich know that to build sustainable wealth, they need to focus on investing in assets that actually generate stable cash flow. Instead of pouring money into consumer goods that drain your finances, build and expand long-term passive income streams. Some popular strategies include buying rental properties. This is a traditional but still effective form of investment. When you own a rental property, you receive monthly rent, have a stable cash flow, and can take advantage of financial leverage from the bank. Invest in dividend-paying stocks. Companies with a history of paying stable dividends are often a safe choice for passive income streams. Dividends are considered regular bonuses that you receive just from owning shares. Own a self-operated business. Build or buy businesses with professional operating systems, allowing you to receive regular profits from the business without having to work directly. Create digital products or copyrights. Books, online courses, apps, or other digital products can also be a sustainable source of passive income if promoted and operated properly. Understanding the difference between assets and liabilities is the foundation for you to stop wasting money on things that just take money out of your pocket without providing long-term value. Focus on building real assets, assets that generate a steady cash flow, bringing you closer to financial freedom and economic security. In the next section, we will explore how to build systems and use leverage to expand your cash flow and increase your wealth without a friend. Part 3, Systems and Leverage, Building a Cash Flow System. In the financial world, understanding and applying systems and leverage is the key to helping you escape the limitations of time and effort. This is not only the secret to increasing income, but also a way to expand your business, creating a stable and sustainable cash flow without having to work hard every day. 1. The concept of systems and leverage. A system, at its simplest, is an automatic or semi-automatic process that helps you operate your business, manage and generate income without having to do everything yourself every minute and every hour. It is like a pre-programmed machine running smoothly even when you're not there, and most importantly, still creating value and profit. Leverage is how you take advantage of external resources, be it people, money, technology, or relationships, to multiply your own power. Instead of relying solely on individual labor, Leverage helps you double, triple, or even multiply your income or work efficiency dozens of times without increasing your working hours. 2. Real-life comparison. Craftsman and franchise system user. Imagine two people selling coffee. The first person opens a small shop, wakes up at 4 a.m. every day, prepares ingredients, makes drinks, serves customers, cleans up, and works 12 hours a day. His income is directly related to the time and effort he puts in, meaning that if he doesn't work, there are no customers and no money comes in. The second person is different. He doesn't directly make drinks or serve customers, but build a coffee franchise system with hundreds of points of sale operated by managers and employees. He only needs to supervise the whole thing, optimize strategies, and receive a percentage of profits from each store. Even when he is not present, the cash flow is still flowing into his pocket. This difference is a clear demonstration of the power of the system and leverage in business and generating income. 3. Human leverage, the power of a team. People are one of the most important levers. Instead of doing everything themselves, successful people know how to build and manage a team, delegate work to the right people, and monitor work performance effectively. When you hire and train competent employees, you can scale up operations and revenue without doubling your workforce. This not only gives you time to rest and focus on developing new business segments, but also increases the ability to operate stably and sustainably. 4. Technology leverage, optimization, and automation. Today's technology is a powerful partner, helping you reduce manual work and increase operational efficiency. For example, CRM, customer relationship management, systems help manage customer information, care for, and increase sales automatically. Chatbots respond to customers 24/7 without the need for a human. E-commerce platforms automatically process orders, payments, and shipping. Accounting and management software helps track cash flow, profits, and accurate reporting. When technology is applied properly, you will be able to run a business with less manpower, minimize errors, and scale quickly. 5 examples of using systems and leverage for rapid growth. There are many successful entrepreneurs who thoroughly apply systems and leverage. A cosmetics brand owner may operate hundreds of franchise stores nationwide, but this person does not need to directly manage each store, but only needs to control centralized operating and marketing systems. A retail business uses automated order processing and customer care software, which helps reduce staff while still ensuring a good shopping experience. Online education platforms with thousands of students automate teaching, payment, and certification, so that founders only need to focus on developing new content. Thanks to that, they both expand the market and increase revenue without having to increase the pressure of daily work. 6 tips for building a system and using leverage effectively. If you want to start building a system and using leverage, keep in mind, automate repetitive tasks. From marketing, customer care, sales to financial management. Invest in the right technology. Choose software and platforms that save time and increase efficiency. Build a capable team. Select, train, and delegate work to the right people. Design clear processes. All activities in the system must be standardized to ensure smooth, consistent operation. Regular monitoring and optimization. The system always needs to be improved to adapt to changes and maintain good performance. Systems and levers are weapons that help you escape the limits of time and effort, making your work and assets automatic, sustainable, and rapidly expanding. Only when you know how to build systems and leverage properly can you step to the top height of financial freedom instead of being busy in the tiring cycle of manual labor. The next part will explore with you an equally important factor. That is time and how to take advantage of time to double the value of your income. Part 4. Time rules. Time is a valuable asset. Time is the most valuable asset that each of us owns, but how we use time determines our success or failure in life, especially in the journey of making money and building sustainable wealth. 1. Use time wisely. The rich buy back time. Unlike many people who only know how to use time to exchange for money, that is, the more you work, the more money you make. The rich understand that time cannot be regenerated, and they never sell their time in vain. Instead of working hard every hour, they choose to buy back time by hiring people to do the work for them, applying automation technology, and building an efficient operating system. Buying back time helps them free themselves from monotonous, repetitive tasks to focus on more important activities. developing strategies, building brands, and creating long-term value. You can see this through big business leaders, successful investors. They always spend time on planning, learning, and developing themselves, while operational work is often assigned to others or machines. 2. Theory of time and income. Income levels over time. To better understand how time affects income, let's analyze the 4 levels of income over time. Income by time. This is the most common level of income in society, especially for workers and office workers. You get paid for how many hours you work. The characteristics of hourly income are: income is limited by the number of working hours in a day. If you don't work, the money won't come. In particular, you can't increase your income too much without increasing the number of working hours. For example, a tutor, an office worker, or a manufacturing worker all fall into this category. Income by product. At this level, you create a product or service that can be resold over and over again without having to work many hours. This can be a digital product such as an e-book, an online course, a book license, or a physical product that is manufactured and sold. The special thing is that you only have to spend the initial effort to create the product, and then you can sell it to many different customers. However, income still requires an investment of time to produce, promote, and sell. For example, an author of an e-book, an artist creating music, or an entrepreneur manufacturing home appliances. Income by system. When you build an automated operating system, you can make money without having to directly participate in all the steps. This is a higher level of income, where an organization or business operates with a coordination of many people, machines, and standardized processes. You act as a designer, manager, and supervisor, no longer depending on individual labor per hour. This allows you to scale and earn larger income without increasing the corresponding effort. For example, a chain of coffee franchises, an automated e-commerce site, or a software company with a technical team. Income by asset. This is the highest and most sustainable level of income. You own profitable assets that generate a steady cash flow without you having to work directly. These assets can be rental real estate, dividend-paying stocks, self-operated businesses, or copyrighted intellectual property products. Income from assets helps you not have to sell your labor, and you can be free of time, focus on what you're passionate about, or enjoy life. For example, investors own a chain of rental apartments, major shareholders of a company that pays regular dividends, or founders own brands and self-operated systems. 3 differences between income levels. Each income level corresponds to how you use your time and effort. Hourly income is always limited by the number of hours in a day. Product income allows you to sell once, profit many times. System income helps you scale, reduce dependence on yourself. Asset income is complete freedom, where money works for you. Rich people often focus on building income at higher levels, systems, and assets. 4. Why should you buy back your time? No one can extend a day beyond 24 hours, and health cannot endure the overload of work forever. Selling time to earn money is a recipe for exhaustion, stress, and no real freedom. On the contrary, buying back time by outsourcing, applying technology, and building systems will help you increase work efficiency, reduce pressure and stress, create a stable cash flow without depending on personal labor. That is how the rich use their time to get rich and live happier. 5 ways you can start using your time today. You don't need a lot of capital or superior technology skills to start first. Some simple steps include: reevaluate how you currently spend your time. Look for tasks that can be outsourced or automated. Invest in learning about technology management and system building. Start experimenting with building small, simple systems in your work or business. Take advantage of digital tools to reduce the time spent on repetitive tasks. Time is not something to be sold, but a valuable asset that needs to be protected and used wisely. When you know how to buy back your time, you will enter a new game where income is no longer tied to the number of hours worked. The next part will explore with you the psychology of crowds and how to control your emotions so as not to be swept away by the waves of the financial market. Part 5, System Play and Leverage, using strategy to multiply cash flow. In the world of business and finance, one of the factors that determine success is not only what you do, but also how you do less but increase your income. System, play, and leverage are the keys to help you do that. Let's explore this concept in more depth and how to apply it in practice to effectively multiply cash flow. 5.1 The concept of leverage in business systems. First, leverage is a tool or means that helps you use fewer resources but create greater results, helping to multiply cash flow and income without having to increase your efforts accordingly. There are many types of leverage, but the most common in business are human leverage. This is the recruitment, training, and use of good employees or associates to do the work for you in the business. Instead of doing everything yourself, you build a capable team, share the work, so that you can focus on more important things like developing strategies and expanding your business. A smart business owner is not someone who does everything, but someone who knows how to use people as leverage to double or triple the effectiveness of their work. Financial leverage. Financial leverage is the use of borrowed capital, cash flow from banks or investors to increase the scale of operations. Instead of using only limited personal capital, you use borrowed capital wisely to invest in expansion, creating greater profits. For example, instead of buying a coffee shop with 100% of your own capital, you can borrow 70% of the capital from the bank, invest on a larger scale, attract more customers, and increase profits. Financial leverage, if managed well, will help you increase your growth rate, but if used incorrectly, it will lead to debt risks. Automated system. An equally important factor in the system rules is to build automated and smooth-running processes that you do not need to directly participate in every day. The system helps the business run smoothly, ensuring product/service quality, customer care, and effective financial and human resource management. When you have an automated system, you will free up time, minimize errors, and increase scalability. 5.2 Example of a coffee franchise model. To make it easy to visualize, let's consider two cases of opening a coffee shop. Case 1. Opening a coffee shop from scratch. An individual opens a small coffee shop, responsible for all the work, preparing ingredients, making drinks, serving customers, cleaning, managing revenue and expenditure. This person has to work for hours, working days and days off, and his income is limited by his personal labor. Although it can be profitable, everything depends on the health, time, and effort of the owner. Case 2. Opening a franchise coffee shop. Others choose the franchise model. Instead of building from scratch, they buy the business rights from a famous brand, supported in operating processes, marketing, and materials. In particular, they do not need to do everything themselves. There are managers and employees responsible for operations. The owner only needs to supervise and orient the strategy. Income comes from the profit sharing according to a systematic model, expanding many stores without increasing personal burden. 5.3 Effects of applying leverage in systems. When you know how to use human, financial, and technological leverage, you will reduce personal work pressure, no longer have to rush into the kitchen every day, rapidly scale up the business with fewer resources, optimize operational performance, and better control risks, generate more and more consistent cash flows. On the contrary, if you do not apply leverage, you'll always be limited by your own time and labor. 5.4 Tips for building effective systems and leverage. To start building systems and using leverage successfully, you should identify important tasks to focus on and tasks that can be delegated. Select, train, and trust your staff or partners. Apply technology to automate business processes, management software, CRM, chatbots, etc. Find loans or investment partners to increase scale. Establish standard processes that are easy to replicate and control effectively. The rules of the system and leverage game are not just business techniques, but modern thinking about getting rich. When you know how to build an automated operating system and use leverage wisely, you will create a stable, sustainable cash flow without being constrained by time and personal labor. This is the path to help you escape the hamster wheel of manual labor and enter the sublime financial game. In the next part, we will learn about crowd psychology in the financial market and how to control emotions to always maintain a firm stance and avoid costly mistakes when investing. Part 6. The rules of the game of psychology, controlling emotions in the financial market. In the journey of getting rich and investing, knowledge and strategy are important factors. However, What determines success or failure is not just numbers or data, but the ability to control your psychology and emotions in the face of market fluctuations. That is the rules of the game of psychology in the financial market, a principle that not everyone masters. 6.1 The concept of psychology in investment. The financial market is not just a playground of dry numbers, but also a place where the emotions of millions of investors dominate every step. The psychology of the crowd, fear, greed, and complacency, often makes investment decisions hasty and unwise. Controlling emotions is a key to helping you overcome the temptations of the market and make the right decisions, instead of being swept away by the emotional ups and downs. 6.2 Common mistakes driven by emotions. Greed, fear, and complacency are the three most common emotional states that cause investors to lose money. Greed makes people rush into hot investments, projects that promise big profits in a short period of time without careful analysis. People are afraid of missing out on opportunities, so they follow the crowd without seeing the reality. Fear makes investors sell off when the market declines, causing heavy losses. The feeling of losing money and anxiety weighs heavily on them, making them unable to stick to long-term decisions. Complacency makes people think they are better than the market, subjectively invest too much, lack discipline, and are prone to making mistakes. 6.3 Real-life example. The story of investing in Bitcoin. One of the clearest demonstrations of the power of market psychology is the story of Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency that once created a global fever. Many investors rushed to buy Bitcoin when the price skyrocketed to nearly $60,000 in a state of excitement and greed. They believed that the price would continue to rise, and many first-time investors also joined the trend. However, when the market began to decline, Bitcoin fell from $60,000 to around $30,000 in just a few weeks. Fear prevailed, causing many people to sell off to cut losses, creating a deeper decline. Many investors without a long-term strategy, who were dominated by emotions, suffered great losses, and even left the market in disappointment. 6.4 The psychology of winners in the financial market. In contrast to investors who are easily influenced by emotions, winners in the market are those who know how to stay calm, control their psychology, and apply a clear strategy. They understand that fluctuations are inevitable and unavoidable. When prices rise, they do not let greed lead them, but stick to their plan. When the market falls, they do not panic and sell, but see it as an opportunity to accumulate more assets at a good price. They know how to build a principled investment system, allocate risks reasonably, and maintain discipline in every decision. By focusing on long-term goals and not being swayed by temporary emotions, they maintain a stable cash flow and develop sustainable assets. 6.5 How to control emotions when investing. To become a stable investor, you need to learn how to control your psychology with the following steps. Make a clear plan. Before investing, determine your goals, acceptable risk level, and specific investment strategy. Be disciplined. Follow the plan. Avoid being affected by news or short-term market trends. Self-discipline. Understand and recognize your own emotions such as greed and fear so that they do not control your actions. Diversify your portfolio. Helps reduce risks and limit psychological pressure when an investment is difficult. Continuous learning. Learn more about market psychology and smart investment methods from experts. Controlling psychology and emotions is the most important rule in the financial market. When you master your emotions, you not only avoid costly mistakes, but also take advantage of profitable opportunities more effectively. The key to success is not whether you know many investment techniques or not, but whether you can maintain a stable mentality, stick to long-term goals, and not be swept away by temporary fluctuations. Conclusion: the key to mastering the money game. After a journey of in-depth exploration of the most basic and important principles in the financial world, one thing is undeniable. Understanding the rules of the money game is the most fundamental and important step for you to become a winner on the path to wealth and financial freedom. You cannot control the results if you do not know the rules of the game. There is no secret other than the fact that the most successful people are those who understand the rules of the game, thereby flexibly and skillfully applying them to their lives. They are not swept away by emotions or temporary market fluctuations, but know how to create cash flow, accumulate assets, and build a sustainable profit system. And now, it's time for you to make an important choice. Will you continue to play this game as an ignorant player, forever spinning around a wheel of hardship and uncertainty? Or will you learn and apply the right principles to master the game? Let money work for you instead of you working for money? We encourage you to start today, right now. Invest in financial knowledge. Constantly learn and apply. The first step is to understand the difference between assets and liabilities. Clearly distinguish between passive cash flow and single income. Then, you build yourself a self-operating financial system, taking advantage of the power of financial leverage, people, and technology. Don't forget that financial freedom is not a distant dream, but the result of a process of persistent learning and practice. When you master the rules of the money game, you will escape the spiral of uncertainty, debt, and financial stress. Instead, you will have a life of time freedom, financial security, and more peace of mind. Let money work for you, so that every coin you own is not just a temporary value, but a source of sustainable development for the future. Thank you for watching the video. If you find this content useful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Share and leave a comment below, so we can continue to bring you more valuable knowledge. Wishing you success on the path to financial mastery and freedom of life.